There's a reason why Dolores Cannon has become so popular at this specific time. She is the one who sort of spoke a lot about this 5D shift in consciousness collectively, and that there would be a new earth, and that there would be a division in the collective where some people would ascend and step back from fear-based thinking and move into a reality that is much more peaceful, calm, and just joyful. And then there would be others who would ignore the call and they would remain the same. There are a few that are experiencing this shift in their reality, in their physical bodies, and a lot of the time it can be really scary. So I want to break it down for you so you don't have to feel that way. I've been through it. So without further ado, my name is Brittany Arlov. I am the owner of Strange Familiar. So let's get into these symptoms that you may be feeling and some ways that I have found to ascend or transcend from them and kind of embrace them, to be honest. I like ascending. It doesn't just happen once, by the way. You'll go through a few. So the first one I want to talk about is constant negativity. Now, this one is a hard one, right? Because a lot of your friends, your family, they talk negatively about people. And once you awaken to this universe, it becomes very hard to sit there and listen to these to people who have meant so much to you speak badly about literally anyone. Why? Because your soul has recognized that we are all, at some capacity, one. We're all part of a collective. To have people constantly talking negatively about other people, it kind of just puts you into a lower vibration and you cannot handle it. You just can't handle it. So gossipers, people who are constantly negative, it's a lot of the reason why I really try and stay away from the news, because I do believe, again, controversial, that the news can sometimes really fabricate the truth of the matter. I mean, just look at COVID. I think that was a really big eye opener for a lot of people, as controversial as a topic as that may be. I'll give you some examples because I have a lot of them. So as you would know, if you have been watching some of my videos, this is a new channel, so you may not have seen me before, but I do cosmetic tattooing. That's my normal business, and I have done so for a long time. So on average, I will see up to 7 clients a day, 5 to 7, I would say. And a lot of these women and girls as well, like young girls, 18 to 20, would come in and lay on my tattooing bed. And I've always had, I believe it's a gift, where people open up to me very, very easily. I am a Cancer stellium. So I think that people can just feel that energy from me, that I truly do care. And what I noticed was that a lot of these clients were bringing me or talking to me about their problems. And sometimes it would be gossiping, sometimes I could understand where they were coming from. But because my vessel had now opened up to a frequency that it hadn't done before, I wasn't just listening to these stories as an observer. I was actually absorbing that energy that they were feeling. And it was exhausting, truly exhausting. And I mean, what could I do? It's not like I can tell people to shut up and get off my tattoo bed. We're midway doing your eyebrows. So it became very hard for me. Once I understood that this was happening at a DNA level and that my vessel was upgrading to receive more downloads from the ethers, from God, from whoever you believe, it became easier. So, whilst we cannot control everything when it comes to gossiping and negativity, we can choose to take precautions like I do. I'm a big believer in, I actually sage my house morning and night. And I also wash myself with a salt and sage scrub every time I have a shower, so morning and night. Alas, I'll get back to it. Then came friendships and family members. They would gossip about people, and I would feel drained, sometimes irritable. I couldn't understand how they didn't understand what I was saying to them. I was saying to them, don't speak badly about people because you're creating karma for yourself and it's going to come back to you. But people didn't want to hear it. And it's not, I have come to realize it is not my job to teach people that don't want to hear it. And I think that's a really big spiritual lesson that we all need to learn, because us spiritualists, oh my gosh, once we first awaken, we just want to tell everyone, no, 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 don't do this, don't do that. But it's not our job. It's not our job. That's why I'm here on YouTube, because I know that whoever clicks on this video wants this information. And the funny thing is, it got to a point where I almost didn't want to speak to anyone anymore. And you might be going through this. You just want to be alone. And that's okay. That's okay. Let yourself. Don't feel guilt for that. It's normal. It's a part of this awakening and integration phase that you're going through. And it is essential to absorb the light that is trying to come into your vessel. So the next big one would be your phone, or pretty much any electrical device, maybe TVs, computers, all that kind of jazz. Why? Because they're full of like notifications, bing, 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 bing. And like, if you go on social media, it's like one bad thing after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. Or a news outlet saying that someone stabbed someone, and or there's this outbreak of some kind of disease that we should all be fearful of, or that tax has increased, or that whatever. And then there's a video of a cat. I love the cat videos. Anyway, you cannot consciously create your own life if your attention is being stolen by consuming what everybody else is doing. So I think it's a really important thing to know and to notice. How does your energy feel when you sit on your phone and doom scroll? We've all been there. We've all been there, especially when we're ascending. It's quite common to get into these kind of like depressive states. So just watch your energy and how it changes. Mornings are very, very important. I would really recommend to try and stay off the phone for at least 15 minutes. Put your feet into the ground. It makes such a huge difference. I've noticed the more conscious that I became of my internal state, the more obvious it became when something was pulling me out of it. And I think that if you start to pay attention, you will see that too. Your attention is so important, my friends. It really is. It shapes everything, your whole day. So focus on where your attention is going and watch yourself ascend and feel that chi energy rise, because these electronic devices, maybe it's the EMF frequencies, maybe it's what content you're consuming, whatever it may be, you will feel that it is pulling your attention away from yourself, which is not what we want to be doing. We want to be bringing our intention back to our internal state so that we can change our reality. Okay, so the next one, And this one can be confusing. It's the places that you currently reside in feel off. So this could be it can be a few things, okay? So it could be like a housing situation, or it could be even like a relationship, but something feels off, and it is strange because nothing has changed about that particular environment or place, but you just know that there is a reason, or there is this calling to leave. And I've experienced this more times than I can possibly count. And the funny thing is, I actually find that your house, and please tell me in the comments if any of you have experienced this, that your house will tell you when it's time to leave. Things will start to break. Things will start to, literally break. Like you'll have lights just breaking, going out, electricity outages. You just have problems in the house, maybe plumbing issues, cracks in the walls, maybe mold starts to form. Dear God, I hope not. But you just know that there's a reason why you need to leave this place. And, it could even be a work situation, which is actually what I'm going to get into next. But you just know that it's time to go. And there's this eerie kind of feeling of like, but I don't know where to go. Don't worry. Don't worry. And I've spoken about this before. When you don't know what to do, don't do anything. The concept of this is to quiet down the mind. So we do that through cutting off things like social media that is taking our attention, so that we can hear and we can download through the ethers what is trying to be conveyed to us. So the next one would be work that drains you. Drains you more than before, like a lot more than before. For me, I built a cosmetic tattooing business for the last 7 years, and it is doing better than it ever has done before. But I have had this calling to be on social media and share my experience with you guys and help you for such a long time. And it got to a point where I could not ignore it. And the interesting part about it is that when I decided to take this leap of faith, my business started doing so well that I could truly focus on YouTube because I had the resources to do so. So you will know if it is time to leave a situation if there is a feeling of discomfort that you simply cannot ignore. And it's because you have energetically outgrown that space. You've learned all the lessons that there was to learn in that environment. There comes a point where you simply cannot ignore it. It's like it just gets so freaking loud. And not only that, if you keep ignoring it, the universe will put issues into that environment. For myself, I was having issues with clients, issues with, just things like stock, like just different things were causing me issues. And I had every reason to stay doing my cosmetic tattooing business, because why would you walk away from something that is now doing better than it ever has done before? And it was because my belief system and my energy had changed to a point where I had already learned everything that I could from that business, and my soul was aching, was yearning for more, and it was yearning to help. That's all I wanted to do, was help. I wanted to help humanity. So you'll find these things happening when the universe is pushing you to move on, to let go, to trust. And I ask you to do so. I think that if you do, you will find yourself with so much more joy and love and compassion. And yes, spiritual awakening is painful. But what I have found, with each ego death and with each ascension, they almost don't feel as painful anymore. It's almost like you don't feel them anymore. I don't even know when I'm ascending. I'll kind of know because I'll feel a bit sick or something like that, but they don't feel as soul destroying because I have gotten myself into a place of equilibrium and centered emotions where no matter what is happening in my external reality, I am able to ground myself and know that it is only temporary. So, the next part I want to talk about is relationships that require you to be your old self, right? So, you may have childhood friends that you used to go out and drink with or do drugs with or whatever, and you simply can't do it anymore. Or even in family dynamics, I experienced this and it was so interesting to me. And this is no fault of my family. They just knew someone who was different. So when I went through my Kundalini awakening, I started thinking, behaving, being a very different person. And as I explained before, I would often like call my mom or my dad out on certain things they would say, like, you shouldn't judge someone, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And it was very hard for them to accept at the start. They were almost like, this must be some kind of, like act, like who is this person? It will take some time for people to readjust to your new aura. Honestly, it's your energy. You're a different person. You may still have the same vessel, but you have changed. You truly have. You've changed from the inside, and it is recognizable. And sometimes relationships that end, it's because you just don't resonate anymore. This may come in, lovers. It may come in the form of childhood friendships, and it's because, yeah, your energy has changed. And I'm not saying that these relationships will never come back into alignment, but at this current point in time, you guys just don't resonate anymore. So, whilst this is challenging, the way to overcome it is to simply accept that perhaps this person was brought into my life for a season and not a lifetime, and that I am okay whether or not they come back into my life, and I'm okay if they don't. Appreciate what it was, even if it was just for a short amount of time. What a gift to experience someone in their wholeness. What a gift. Even if you guys, I think I'm really leaning in towards love now. What a gift to have spent, whether it be a year with someone or, months with someone, and to have learnt all of their quirks and weirdness. If we can begin looking at life like that instead of hating that person afterwards, once that relationship dissolves because your energies have shifted, then you'll stop having so much anger and hatred in your soul and in your vessel. And when we do that, we rise. We continue to ascend. And when we ascend, we get these downloads that bring us to our next challenge. But in doing so, you become a much more kind person because you have been through all these things. And instead of becoming bitter, like how Dolores Cannon said, there would be a shift in the consciousness of the collective. Instead of becoming bitter, you become more loving, because you can love someone from afar and say, I know that what this person is doing is due to their trauma, but their trauma is no longer mine to hold. So I can love you from a distance. And I can love you knowing that we won't come into alignment again, or I don't believe we're going to come into alignment again, but I hold no resentment towards you. If the world could start behaving more like that, it would be a much better world. It's not easy. I'm human. I'm human too. God knows I've been heartbroken. but I choose not to hate people. I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to hate someone that I once loved. I truly don't. And I think that it's a gift. I think that it's a gift. And just because I don't hate them doesn't mean that I want them back. It just means that I can love you for who you were at the time. You know what I mean? So, the next symptom that you may be experiencing, and it's a very common one, is foods and substances that you used to be able to consume, you simply cannot anymore. For myself, I often go through periods of not being able to eat meat at all. I'll become vegan. Some of my friends laugh because I call myself a quasi vegan. It just depends. Like, your body will tell you what it needs. It truly will if you listen. So, if you don't feel like eating meat, don't eat it. Don't eat it. um, Allow yourself to be guided by your soul, because it knows what to do. If it doesn't want meat, it could be because, and there's a lot of research into this, and different blood types require different nutrients, and sometimes our bodies tell us this, and if you can listen to it, you know it's just beneficial for you. So it's okay if you don't feel like eating, super clean all the time as well. Like, I go through periods where I just want to eat sugar. And I used to feel really guilty about that. I'm like, but what, I'm spiritual. I'm supposed to, eat vegetables and, tofu and, make Buddha bowls. But sometimes when you're ascending, you need your comfort foods. And it's okay. Don't fall into guilt, the bread of shame, as I would call it, as the Kabbalists would call it. It's one of the lowest frequencies we can be in. So you may not be able to drink alcohol anymore or do drugs. Maybe you smoke weed. You can't do it anymore. All of these things that used to make up your reality in such a way, and you probably never even thought to become a vegan, and then suddenly you've gone down this rabbit hole of veganism. Like, one of the biggest ones that I find the most fascinating personally is the ear ringing, because how can so many people, only after they have become activated to the spiritual community, to the spiritual world, why do we all experience, well, many of us experience, this ringing in the ears that comes when you're around certain people? Dolores Cannon describes that as you're accessing the higher frequencies. I think that's incredible. Because, yeah, when it happened to me, my mind was just blown. Like, blown, guys. Like, it happened to me one time, like, it happened to me quite a few times. And that happened to me one time in particular when I was first started dating someone. And he came over to my house and we started talking about something. I can't remember what we were necessarily talking about. And then I believe it was my left ear started ringing. And, I really wish I listened to that ringing, as I believe that it was someone from my team of light trying to contact me, telling me this is not a good one. But alas, I didn't listen. I had to learn the hard way. I like to learn the hard way. But anyway, if you're feeling these symptoms, please know that you are not alone. Don't start asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? Why can't I do my job anymore? Why am I so tired? Am I lazy? Why can't I do all the things with my friends that used to make me happy? I feel like I'm losing everyone. No one wants to talk to me anymore. Stop all that. So maybe ask yourself instead, what's changed in me? Why can I no longer abandon myself in the sake of keeping everyone else happy. And it's not about becoming superior to others, not at all. If you have been chosen, and I don't really like using that word because it implies some kind of superiority, but if you have been chosen, then it is to help the rest of the world ascend too, because that's what we're here to do. We were not meant to be caged by fear. Let this be confirmation that these symptoms are wonderful. And the more that you can embrace them, the more that you'll start to see that. So if this video resonated with you at all, please let me know. I've also created a PDF download for you guys. I'll leave the link below. It just talks about how we can ascend from these symptoms and some different techniques that I have learned along these years of being on the ascension journey, because you don't just have one ascension, they keep going. Every time you choose yourself, you're going to have an ascension ego death kind of thing. So it's important to have different routines in place for when it happens. And it usually happens for about a week, is what I've learned. And then you'll feel better, which is good to know. But yes, I will leave the link to the PDF in my description thingy. And I hope to see you on my next video. And please hit that subscribe button. This is a new channel. I am new to YouTube and I'm loving it. Loving talking to you guys. Leave some comments. I wanna talk to you. Like, how are you guys going? Are you feeling this eclipse? I am. Anyway, love you guys. Bye.